standard of education in Nigerian universities was the focus during interactions on laws governing universities in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adeguloye reports that key players in the higher education system made inputs in the discourse, which is at the instance of the Speaker, House of Representatives Law Reform Committee.
Constraints identified include lack of quality teaching, too much focus on theory, and inadequate facilities. Consequently, the dialogue focused on developing a special identity for universities to make them globally competitive.
The federal universities, from our perspective, are the backbone of Nigerian university system.
Should there be uniformity in all federal laws applicable to federal universities?
Universities should be insulated from this meddlesomeness of several of these organizations.
There is need for a national quality assurance body.
You should not be compensated by appointing you into a council, either for one reason or the other. You should come there to add value.
We do not have an operational establishment act. It becomes a little bit difficult for us to have confidence in what we're doing.
There should be certain percentages set aside for both practicals and theories.
This emphasis on practical experience was also echoed by some law students during a roundtable on legal education.
That's why medical students are better than us. They remember what they each day you're practicing what you're learning.
The law changes, the law grows, there are a lot of things that come into place. If you don't have any idea of all of this, and we are expected to just sit in class and not go to law courts as law students, of course, how do they impact this knowledge onto us?
The deliberations are sequel to the inauguration back in July 2015 by the Speaker, House of Representatives, of a law reform committee which is mandated to review existing laws, and it is expected that recommendations will be collated and forwarded to the House of Representatives for further legislative action. In Abuja, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
The National Assembly has advised the government of Kaduna, Zamfara and Taraba states to seek ways of resolving the communal crisis in their areas through reconciliatory measures to ensure lasting peace in the states. The Chairman, Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Southern Kaduna Crisis and other parts of the country gave the advice when he received the report of the Kaduna State Government on communal crisis from 1928 to date. National Assembly correspondent Ifeanyi Izumba completes the report.
The chairman of the ad hoc committee, Kabiru Gaya, who said the major problems in the areas are social, political and religious, urged the people of Southern Kaduna to work with the state government to ensure peaceful coexistence.
The governors of both states, both Governor of Zamfara and Governor of Kaduna, and even Taraba, where we visited earlier, they are doing their best in trying to maintain peace. We intend to visit more based on the directive by the Senate, that we should also visit Borno State, Nasarawa State, Niger State, Kano State, because of the southern part of Kano.
I believe that when you secure the place first, then you reconcile the people. Then you can now come up with either a resolution or a new act or law that makes sure that if we set up timelines and issue that if you go beyond this, this will take place, this will happen, and this. But if you going back and saying you want to implement past white papers, definitely you create more problem than.
In as much as we want to have union and have good relationship with our neighboring countries, that does not mean we should expose our own security to danger.
The committee, while thanking the government of various states for holding community meetings that will bring solutions to the crisis, said their findings will be submitted to the Senate at plenary. From the National Assembly, Ifeanyi Izumba, NTA News.
The task of restoring peace to the Niger Delta is a collective responsibility of all Nigerians. This Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris believes must be pursued without sentiments. He stated this while playing host to members of the South Zone of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. Timothy Yusuf reports.
Spectacular message from the youth to the Inspector General of Police is that the menace caused by the youth ought to be corrected by them. This, they say, informed their special project tagged Niger Delta Youth Peace Dialogue. To realize their project, they are adopting 3 measures of consultation, memorandum and dialogue.
The time for us to come before you is now, so that we will not be seen doing a good job, doing it so wrongly as to the fact that we did not crave the indulgence of the authority, the security agencies.
Without the police, there will be no good governance. Without the police, there will be no security.
The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, welcomed their initiative. He assured on the support of the Nigeria Police, which he described as more people-oriented in its policies and operations.
It's a very good sign that some of you are going on to build bridges to other members of the country itself. You know, having positive objectives to see how Nigeria as a country would progress beyond its present edition.
The IGP implored them to promptly report any act capable of breaching the peace of the society to the relevant authorities, stressing that a stitch in time saves 9. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And the Chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, says the quarterly review and reflection on the management of the electoral process is a bold attempt by the Commission aimed at strengthening democracy in Nigeria. He said this at the quarterly consultative meeting with civil society organizations in Abuja. Over now to Gabriel Odu for details.
On the performance of INEC on elections conducted so far from 2015 to date, the chairman said issues of violations of the Electoral Act and settlement of election cases are being addressed.
The most important thing is to see changes being made rather than crediting specific organizations with specific proposals. Because at the end of the day, what is more important is the health of our democracy and the management of our elections.
The chairman also gave assurance on INEC's willingness to always partner with the civil society organizations for smooth conduct of elections.
In the last 2 major elections we conducted in Edo and Ondo, INEC accredited 91 civil society organizations. And these 91 organizations collectively deployed 5,425 officers.
The regimentation of elections on election day is also a major issue for us in this country. We know that on election days there are no movements and people are restricted. This affects the number of people that can vote, especially if the location of their polling units are so far away from where they reside.
The quarterly consultative meeting between the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and civil society organizations also discussed the role of security agencies in the electoral process. From INEC headquarters in Abuja, Gabriel Odu, NTA News.
And efforts to harmonize the national anti-corruption strategy documents has continued with a consultative meeting in Abuja. Femi Okewo reports.
The stakeholders' consultative meeting is aimed at the harmonization of 3 working documents. The documents are Nigeria Anti-Corruption Strategy by the Federal Ministry of Justice, National Anti-Corruption Action Plan by the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, and the National Strategy to Combat Corruption by the Interagency Task Team. Solicitor General of the Federation and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, stood in for the Minister of Justice at the event.
It is widely acknowledged that corruption undermines economic development, political stability, rule of law, and social development.
The strategy document is expected to provide a framework to improve the anti-corruption regime in Nigeria. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
It will save $200 million through the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, which is meant to address corruption in farming input supply chain. Musa Baba Ali reports that the Growth Enhancement Scheme program of the Ministry of Agriculture is to be subsumed into the initiative. While we wait for that story to come, let's now join Vera in our Lagos Network Center for top stories from that zone. Good afternoon to you, Vera.
Thank you, Hawa. Good to have you join us here in Lagos. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Mike Uzokeme, has asked the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos to discharge the temporary forfeiture order, freezing his account. EFCC froze his account following the 75 million naira he discovered in his account, which alleged were proceeds of crime. At the resumed hearing today, the applicant, Mike Uzokeme, who held his brief in a motion of notice, also asked the court to restrain the EFCC and its agents from dealing in any way or manner from the operation of the account. Uzokeme argued that the money in his account came from the Ekiti State Governor Ayafayeshe's account, which has been defrozen by the court. He claimed that the money was part of the proceeds of his professional fee for 8 cases he's handling for Fayoshe and his friends. Among them is Femi Fani-Kayode and one Adebisi Abiodun. The leaders of the Hausa community in Lagos State have held a meeting with the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Zone 2, Kayode Aderonti, on maintenance of peace and improved security in the state. The Hausa community delegation was led by Seriki Hausa of Agege, Musa Mohammed. Rotimi Oluwabemi has the details.
The spokesman of the Hausa community delegation, Alhaji Kabiru Ali Daina, said the meeting becomes necessary in order to strengthen the peaceful coexistence between the Hausa community and other tribes in the state. He assured the Assistant Inspector General of Police of the community's unalloyed support towards sustaining the peace in Lagos.
This is not the time when somebody abuses you, you must also abuse him back. We want to progress. Without peace, there is no progress. We cannot achieve any progress. And security can never run on a wheel, on one wheel. It has to run on 2 wheels. One belonging to the uniformed personnel and one belonging to ourselves. We have to protect ourselves by giving the uniformed personnel enough cooperation, enough information and support.
Okay. The Assistant Inspector General of Police on 2 Command, Kayode Aderonti, commended Hausa community for its role in ensuring that peace reigns in their environment. He said the Lagos State Police Command will not leave any stone unturned in protecting the citizens, irrespective of their ethnic or religious affiliation.
I urge you all to please go back and preach peace. Tell your subjects to embrace peace. There's nothing that peaceful coexistence cannot do. And all of us in this country, we have to accept it as a matter of fact.
A prayer session was held for the security of the state and the nation. In Lagos, Rotimi Oluwabemi, NTA News.
Consumer protection is a big issue in Nigeria due to influx of substandard and fake products into the market. As the country joins the world to mark the International Consumer Protection Day, what are the available platforms for Nigerian consumers to seek redress when their rights are infringed on? And what ways are they protected by law? Abolede Salame in this report provides answers.
Complaints by Nigerians on abuse of their rights as consumers are numerous and varied, from direct purchases, service provisions to online purchases. Several Nigerians have one reason or the other to complain, either on the quality, standard, or user satisfaction of products.
That's going to be a very wrong thing, but from what I've been seeing, I've not come across that somebody will complain or give me a complaint or something was brought to him and it's not good or it's failed or it's expired. I've not heard about that. So if that has been happening or is happening, if it happens, it's bad. The picture I got
from what I ordered. It was different from the package I received. Since then, I haven't ordered anything. Even here in India, I haven't ordered anything to me.
The Nigerian Consumer Protection Council has the statutory power to register all products manufactured or imported into the country. Exemption may, however, be granted products already registered by NAFDAC from paying registration fees to the council. Aggrieved consumers are also expected to lay their complaints before the council for redress. How effective has this been? The council has also advised consumers to be circumspect when patronizing online platforms for purchases. This is due to the access of fraudsters to unprotected sites. Consumers, however, believe that relevant authorities should, as a matter of urgency, acquire adequate capacity to enforce existing regulations on consumer protection in the country. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide News on the NTA Network Service. It's now back to Hawa in Abuja for more reports.
Many thanks to you, Vera. Moving now to agricultural sector and to our earlier story where we informed you that the federal government says it will save over $200 million through the Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, which is meant to address corruption in farming inputs supply chain. Musa Baba Ali reports that the Growth Enhancement Scheme program of the Ministry of Agriculture is to be subsumed into the initiative.
The Growth Enhancement Scheme was introduced by the federal government with the aim of eradicating corruption in the input supply. In spite of that, there have been cases of abuses and diversion as well as inflation in the process.
The issue of subsidy before, that was what killed the fertilizer. The issue of affordable fertilizer, that is the answer. Affordable fertilizer. Not a fertilizer at a very low price where the farmer himself will go and sell it and get profit.
The Presidential Fertilizer Initiative, which is a partnership between the federal government and Fertilizer Producers and Suppliers Association, provides a platform where government subsidy goes directly into the production of fertilizer. Under the system, 7 blending plants in Kano, Kaduna, Plateau, Niger, Funtua, Lagos, Ebonyi are to produce 1.5 million tons of fertilizer for 2017 wet and dry season farming.
Any state in Nigeria can pick from here, can pick from any of the 11 blending plants in batch 1. So by the time we move to batch 2, we're going to be about 13 blending plants. In batches, it will be increasing.
Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Adu Ogbe, said Nigerians owe it a duty to ensure that the products are not smuggled out of the country.
We want this fertilizer to be applied so that agriculture can flourish, the farmer can make money, the price of food can be reasonable, and Nigeria can be self-sufficient in food production.
While you are improving yield, you are improving production, you also have to reduce cost. That will give better profit for the farmer, and that will make him produce more, and that will make him competitive.
The Presidential Fertilizer Initiative Committee are to ensure that all plants abide by the agreement signed with the government. From Dutse, Jigawa State, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
The federal government says it will continue to work towards ending wheat importation by 2019. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Audu Ogbe, said this while flagging off the 2017 wheat harvest in Garumalan local government area of Kano State. Abdullahi Mustafa reports.
Until 2015, wheat farmers in Nigeria were meeting not more than 2% of the 1.5 million metric tons annual demand of flour millers in the country. This costs Nigeria at least $6 billion in the importation of the commodity annually. However, with the coming of the Buhari administration's accelerated wheat production initiative, local production rose to 7% in 2016 and projected 33% in 2017. In Kano State, more than 10,000 farmers took part in this year's cropping season and are hoping to produce 120,000 metric tons. This milestone, Minister of Agriculture Audu Obe, while flagging off the wheat harvest program in Garumalam local government area, says is an indication that by 2019, Nigeria will end importation of the commodity.
You make me very proud because of you,
I can boast that agriculture is working. If you were not here, I can make all the noise on television. People will say, but we can't see food. I can see food in Kano.
He assured that the federal government will continue to do all it takes to achieve this. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, whose administration was highly commended by the minister, says in addition to 100 million naira for the procurement of improved seeds, watering pumps and other essential inputs have been provided to wheat farmers in the state. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy has been commended for its efforts in the provision of operational and administrative support to other arms of the nation's armed forces. Chief of Defense Staff General Abayomi Gabriel Olonishakin gave the commendation while inaugurating the Admiralty printing press built and managed by the Navy in Asokoro, Abuja. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma completes the report.
Two-story edifice is equipped with state-of-the-art machines coupled with the required space for a printing press. General Olonishakin describes it as a critical national asset that will add value to the armed forces documentation processes as well as enhance the proficiency and professionalism of the personnel deployed to man it.
This event is significant because it is truly historic for the unique operational economic implication it holds. It is an option of choice for its appropriateness to strengthen the security of the process of producing classified documents and other military material required for operations and training in the Nigerian Navy in a cost-effective and timely manner.
Chief of Naval Staff Vice Admiral Ibok Ite Ibas says the project is a long-nurtured idea born out of the need to exercise considerable control over the production of classified materials of the military, considering its strategic value amidst current security challenges.
It is another way for the Nigerian Navy to heed the call of the Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, for the armed forces to strive hard on development of local capacity for their needs. The facility will also enable the Nigerian Navy to save a lot of cost while she is able to contribute modestly to the national employment efforts.
The inauguration indicates the formal takeoff of the Navy printing press to delivering the needed services to all arms of the military, paramilitary, and security agencies. In Abuja, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
And our Maiduguri Network Center is where we go next for top stories from that zone, and Naomi will be our guide. It's over to you.
Thank you, Hawa, and welcome to Maiduguri. 4 female teenage suicide bombers and 2 other men have died in the early hours of Wednesday following suicide attacks on Usmanti village along Muna Garage in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Confirming the attacks, Borno State Police Command stated that already the police anti-bomb squad has visited the scene to sensitize the area. Maimuna Garba reports.
The suicide attacks, which occurred at 1:15 this morning, also injured 16 people who are now receiving treatment at the state specialist and University of Maiduguri teaching hospitals. According to eyewitnesses, the 4 suicide bombers were brought to the area in a Hilux van, and the first bomber detonated her IED near a shop, which was gutted by fire, and the resident thought it was a fire outbreak in the community, as a result of which they came out to put it off. Then the subsequent bombers detonated their IEDs.
I saw one bumping that area when I came out. Immediately when this one finished, then I heard another sound from my left-hand side. Immediately some second ago, then another one with triplications of a seconds.
The increasing suicide attacks around the Muna general area has become a source of worry to residents of Maiduguri, as in recent times the suicide bombers have been trying to infiltrate the state capital through the same area. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Board of Inquiry set up by the Nigerian Army to investigate alleged human rights violation leveled against the army by the public during the fight against insurgency has visited Maiduguri Government House. Haman Jabani has more.
Leader of the team, Major General Ahmed Tijani Jibril, said considering allegations of violations of human rights leveled against the Nigerian army, the Chief of Army Staff set up the Board of Inquiry to come and investigate all allegations and come out with a report. Major General Jibril said as part of their assignment, the team will visit all detention facilities and IDP camps to hear from the team to compile their reports and submit to the Nigerian Army headquarters for necessary action. He then commended the state government for the support he has been rendering to the Nigerian Army in the fight against insurgency and promised to carry out their assignment without fear or favor. Borno State Deputy Governor Usman Mohammed Durkwa, who received the team on a courtesy visit to Government House in Maiduguri, commended the Nigerian Army for sacrificing their lives to defend their fatherland, stressing that as human beings, they are bound to make mistakes sometimes, and therefore urged the investigation team to do justice during the assignment. In Maiduguri, Hamman Jabani, NTA News.
The remains of Archbishop Emmanuel Kanamani has been committed to Mother Earth following a church service in honor of his life and service to God and humanity. Dignitaries within and outside Maiduguri converged on Holy Trinity Cathedral of the Anglican Communion in Maiduguri for the funeral ceremony. Pauline Kuje Vanna has the details.
Let Emmanuel Kanamani, the Bishop of Anglican Diocese Maiduguri and Archbishop Emeritus of Jos Province, hailed from Zuru in Kebbi State, was born in 1950. He had a military career as an army officer. The primate of the Anglican Communion in Nigeria, Most Reverend Nicholas Oko, dwelt his sermon in the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verses 28 to 30, urging all to see the death of Bishop Emmanuel Kanamani as heavenly rest, following diligent service to God and humanity. Thereafter, the remains of the man of God was put to rest at the church premises with a 3-gunshot salute by the Nigerian army.
Dust to dust.
Family, friends, and sympathizers paid tribute to the clergyman.
Bishop Mani was a very strong somebody, strong in mind, strong in faith, and a very good leader.
We knew he's a generous man, and he always makes sure he takes care of the needy.
We love him, but God decided in his own wisdom that he should come home and rest. So we are grateful to God for his service, and we will emulate what he has left behind.
A wake-keep was held to pray and bid farewell to Archbishop Emeritus Emmanuel Kanamani. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Maiduguri. Nationwide continues in Abuja with Hawa. Good afternoon.
Very well, Naomi. The early release of timetable for the 2019 general elections by INEC has received commendation, described as an indication of good planning. This came to the fore at the joint press conference of civil society groups in Abuja, expressing their concern towards a credible election in 2019. Ilyas Yakubu reports.
The room was in a sober mood as these Nigerians recounted their ordeals, not just during the xenophobic attack, but also periodical maltreatment by the South African police.
The ANC councillor, which other members of ANC, came that I'm a Nigerian and I'm not supposed to own a house in this country. I said, why? They said, no, my house is under investigation. Why some South Africans don't have where to sleep? And then Nigerians are coming here, buying a house. I said, but I am a professional. I'm a quantity surveyor. I'm working. My wife is a South African and he can own a house here. He said, if I marry my wife here, I should take her to Nigeria where I can own a house and not here.
With a long list of wants as presented by the president of the Nigerian Union in South Africa, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, reassured the people that their voices will be heard at the highest level of government.
Our position was that it is totally unacceptable that lives of Nigerians and the property of Nigerians in South Africa should be in danger and threatened. Whatever the root causes, that was unacceptable. And they accept that it is unacceptable.
The Minister of Interior, Abdulrahman Danbazao, revealed that the Nigerian government is planning to extend the passport validity to 10 years rather than the normal 5 years validity.
We're also looking at the possibility of the current service provider partnering with Mint through the central bank to see how we can domesticate the production of these booklets in Nigeria, because there's absolutely no reason to be producing these booklets in Malaysia. One, there's problem now even with the service provider because of the foreign exchange.
The message by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Jeffrey Oyema, and the Minister of Interior, Abdulrahman Danbazao, actually calmed the nerves of Nigerians in the room, as so many questions waiting to be answered were actually dealt with here today.
We feel like, children whose father and parents come to them and come to find out what is happening to them.
They have been traumatized by this whole entire xenophobic attacks on them. So the coming of the Nigerians will actually make them to think positively in their mind, which would also empower them psychologically.
Formerly, no one was talking. They were treating us, those of us that were foreigners, like we didn't have anyone, we were not coming from anywhere. But now it is obvious that they see that we have representatives, we have the government behind us, and I think they will treat us with more respect.
But what we are experiencing is envy. And any environment there's envy, there's going to be a problem. So I'm happy seeing the delegate from Nigeria to come and address us.
From Pretoria, South Africa, Oyeyemi Ajayi.
Sorry about that mix-up. That was actually Oyeyemi Ajayi reporting. And as part of efforts to provide equal education opportunity to orphans and vulnerable children in Bauchi, the state government has provided a vocational college. Abbas Mekano reports that the college is named after Ambassador MC Abubakar.
The school was established to give orphans and vulnerable children the opportunity to acquire basic education, excel, and achieve fulfillment in life without barrier. The college has operational departments including electrical, electronic, automobile, building, welding and fabrication, computer installations and hardware repairs, among many others. Governor M.A. Abubakar described the commissioning ceremony as historic in the upliftment of social values and welfare of the orphans and vulnerable children in Bauchi State. He said his government has accorded priority to education through adequate budgetary allocation, signing of MOU with development partners, as well as payment of counterfeit funding to access UBEC and USAID grant for educational development.
The commissioning of these projects today therefore attests to the guiding principle of the present administration as encapsulated in the change mantra disposition of the APC government.
The college has 4 hostels, dining hall, kitchen, 6 workshops, 3 laboratories, in addition to conference hall and 3 other structures inherited from the past administration. Abbas Mekano, NTA News.
And you can watch this news live online via the NTA mobile app, which you can download on your Android device at the Google Play Store or at the Apple Store if you use devices with iOS. And it's nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Time to take some messages. More reports when we return.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
Now, you can hold that dream occasion without stress. Horizon Caterers will provide answers to all your catering questions. Exquisite hall designs, mouth-watering and nourishing local and continental cuisine, suitable for all types of ceremonies, including weddings, AGMs, business luncheon, cocktails. Name it, we can bring it. Our chefs and executive waiters give your guests that unforgettable experience in service. Our service covers all states of the Federation. Call us today to book your occasions. 0805-502-9637, 0803-450-9726, 0909-9708-111. Horizon Caterers, experience catering beyond the horizon.
Does it make common sense to you to be unhappy the morning right after the night you were happy? Did your elders teach you that wisdom is captured in these 3 sentences? Make money, spend money, have no money.
How can you ask a man to spend 18 million on marrying you when I can use that same amount to marry an entire community?
If we spend the money, 18 million, know that the man is a thief.
What do you think? My thinking machine is having problems.
That is what you do when you put all you have into a party to impress those who may not even afford to spend like that.
See, I'm planning a birthday bash with a sum of 2 million naira.
Expensive ceremonies. It's another funny and educative episode of your rib-cracking comedy, Professor John Bull, showing at 8:30 p.m. every Tuesday and Friday on NTA Network International and Star Times.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
Welcome to the new speed of life. Do you crave class? Do you have taste? And do you care about comfort? If you do, then for your next event, a stay away from home, a business trip, or a holiday, visit Jade's Hotel at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja. Check out our world-class services, exquisite suites, restaurant and bar, gymnasium, spa and grills, and our outdoor catering services and cuisines. At Jade's, it can only be better. For bookings and reservations, visit us today at 24 Undola Crescent, Wuse Zone 5, Abuja, or visit www.jadeshotels.com. Our email address is info@jadeshotels.com. You can also call us on 09291-9321 or 0810-909-7956. Jade's Hotels, welcome to life.
Godwin, the heir to a dynasty, will face many challenges, but living with Down syndrome is the least of them. Because his quest for love will expose him to some of the most sinister people on the face of the earth. And only his God-given gifts will save him from this web of pending doom.
NTA Television College, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria, a specialized institution charged to provide quality professional education in television production, engineering, and journalism. The college is offering 4 weeks course on principles and practice of marketing for marketing heads in radios and television houses, public relation agencies, media heads in advertising, brand support managers, media brokers, and heads of corporate affairs. Date 20th of March to 14th April 2017. Registration 100,000 naira with accommodation. Course will take place at NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, call 08069809807 or call 070-366-07155 or email us at ntacollege@gmail.com. NTA Television College, training you to be the best you want to be.
In season 2, we met Hannah in Akrapop.
a 6-year-old whose heart condition was preventing her from leading a normal life.
The problem is so dangerous for my daughter.
We revisit her 9 months after her life-changing operation. And for young orphan Taiwo Simbiat, life with her grandmother is hard.
The day I got to their house, she was lying down there.
She was virtually bedridden.
And without immediate intervention, her future looks bleak.
Thanks for rejoining us. Moving on now. Activities at the Abuja train station have been on high pace amidst tight security since the closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport a week ago. Oinaya Kalu Oka has an update.
The once quiet junction leading to the Idu station is now busy with heavy vehicular traffic and presence of security officials stationed along the road. At the train station, no fewer than 15 policemen and civil defense corps with sniffer dogs were sighted. The register for passengers riding to Kaduna to connect a flight had more than 30 names, with more passengers indicating their names as at the time of this report. Air passengers en route to Kaduna International Airport by rail are being conveyed in specialized coaches once they are able to present their etiquette free of charge.
It's great. You know, I said, oh, how will I not go through all this rough travel and all that? But I think they made good arrangements.
Better than the road experience I had yesterday.
Federal government dedicated 2 coaches out of 4 coaches to passengers riding to catch a flight. Since the closure of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, the number of train passengers from Abuja to Kaduna have increased.
When we started on Wednesday last week, very few passengers connecting their flight turned up, but for now I'm telling you that we have more than 100.
The Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, has increased the number of its trips from 2 to 3 times daily from the Idu to Rigasa train stations in Kaduna since the closure of the Abuja airports. Oyinaya Kalu Oka, NTA News.
To ensure decency in the practice of surveying at the state levels, chief resident surveyors have been posted to the 36 states with the mandate to take inventory of all landed properties. The Surveyor General of the Federation gave the directive during a 2-day induction course for the resident surveyors in Abuja. Mie Ogidi completes the report.
Lack of proper check on the topography before embarking on major projects in some states is said to be a contributory factor to flash flood and the challenges of accessibility in cities. These, among other reasons, informed the posting of these 36 chief resident surveyors who are going to partner with the lands and survey offices in the states to correct these anomalies. They are also tasked to develop maps for the states and highlight areas prone to either landslide, earth tremor, or other related issues for proactive action. For the Surveyor General of the Federation, Ebisinte Awudu, surveying has gone beyond just providing services, but generate revenue for the federal government.
This office should generate not less than 10 billion every year to the purse of the federal government. You and me can do it.
The chief resident surveyors are optimistic that with the needed collaboration from the respective states, the task can be delivered. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
And the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company says it will soon provide prepaid meters to its customers. Head Corporate Communication, Oyebode Fadipe, said this at a meeting in Lokoja. Solomon Ayedei reports.
The stakeholders meeting, which was held at the Palace of Megiri of Lokoja, was to address the challenge of inadequate power supply to Lokoja and its environs. Some of the issues raised include the need to improve power supply to at least 14 hours daily, as against the present 4 hours electricity supply, installation of prepaid meters, and employment of Lokoja youths by Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, among others. Leader of Light Up Lokoja Group, Suleiman Isiaka, and other stakeholders said irregular supply of power has negatively affected the people and economy of the state.
The ANC that has brought us back to Lanta
So what we are saying, they should also cooperate with the youth, especially when you give the youth of the community job.
There has to be some kind of authority for transmission.
The head corporate communication, AEDC, Oyebode Fadikwe, described the distribution company as the last channel in the value chain of electricity supply in the country, adding that they could only supply what they get at a particular time. He called for patience from his customers, assuring that supply will improve as generation increases.
We are putting meter in each house at no cost to the customer. It's going to be free of charge to them. But we just appeal that they should be patient with us.
On employment of Lokoja youths, Mr. Fadikwe charged the youths to freely apply once the opportunity is available. He also enjoined them to resist any attempt to vandalize AEDC installations. In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
And Ngozi in our Enugu Network Center is now ready with details of top stories from that zone. Good afternoon to you, Ngozi.
Thank you, Hawa, and welcome to Enugu Network Center. Over 2,500 farmers in Enugu North Senatorial Zone have benefited from free lime distribution and sensitization in the state. Kelechi Ochiara reports that the forum was organized by the Enugu State Ministry of Agriculture.
The essence of the sensitization and free distribution is to educate rural farmers on how best to reduce the acidity of the soil to ensure bumper harvest in the area. The Enugu State Commissioner for Agriculture, Mr. Mike Ene, explained the reasons for neutralizing the soil acidity with lime. The Nsukka Senatorial Zone farmers were taken through the technical processes of applying the agricultural inputs.
We apply the fertilizer at the rate of 500 kg per hectare, which is 10 bags of 50 kg each for 1 hectare.
While appreciating the rural farmers for coming out en masse, the Permanent Secretary, State Ministry of Agriculture, Mr. Obonna Idike, maintained that the state government is determined to ensure that agricultural productivity is secured maximally.
We don't pay even $1 to access these 27,000 bags of land.
Receiving the team at the local government headquarters, the chairman in Nsukka Council area, Professor Roselyn Chinwe Honor, said food security is a global concept that should be given adequate attention for maximum results. The sensitization tour continues in other senatorial zones across the state. In Enugu, Kelechi Ochiara, NTA News.
Justice Anthony Onovo of the Enugu State High Court has discharged and acquitted 2 young university undergraduates who have been in prison custody since 2010 on charges of kidnapping, armed robbery, threats to murder, and extortion. Chinyere Okoye reports.
Okpala and Chikwado Anuku were in 2010 arrested from their schools in Anambra State on 8-count charge of kidnapping, threat to murder, extortion, stealing, among others. They were first arraigned before a magistrate court, which ordered their detention in prisons. In 2012, the 2 accused made their first appearance before an Enugu State High Court, presided over by retired Justice Emejore, who denied them bail on grounds that their offenses were serious capital offenses. When the trial commenced, the prosecution witness, Solomon Jacob, testified that the accused persons confessed to committing the crimes. Since then, the prosecution was unable to produce more witnesses as ordered by the court. In 2015, the matter was transferred to Justice Anthony Onovo after the retirement of the initial trial judge, Justice Emejore. However, after a series of trial dates, without further prosecution witnesses, the defense counsel, Azubike Amoliefo, quoting provisions of Section 167 of the Criminal Procedure Law of Enugu State, prayed the court to discharge and acquit the accused for non-appearance of complainants in court. Justice Onovo, after considering the submissions of the defense counsel, ruled in favor of the accused persons for want of diligent prosecution. With this judgment, the 2 persons are expected to go back and continue their education, which was abandoned 7 years ago. From the State High Court, Enugu, Chinokwe, NTA News.
That's all from this center. It's back to Hawa for more on Nationwide.
Thanks, Ngozi. And moving on now, with statistics indicating that 70 million people are suffering from glaucoma globally, with a projection that it could rise to 80 million, medical experts say stringent measures are in place to reduce blindness prevalence in Nigeria. Talatu Ezirike reports that this was part of submissions on NTA's Current Affairs program, Tuesday Live.
Glaucoma, a disease that affects the optic nerve, represents a major cause of blindness throughout the world, with a high prevalent rate in third world countries. Nigeria has 1.8 million glaucoma sufferers, a situation that has raised the need for more aggressive education on the dangers of the disease, the importance of early detection and treatment options, which should, of course, be through right professionals. Analysts say government is doing a lot, especially to achieve global target of WHO in Vision 2020 to reduce blindness prevalence.
Every citizen should actually, from the heartbeat, when you're watching television, close one eye and look at the scroll, the lines of what is written in television. Then close the other eye and see. By the time you begin to see that, you see with one eye more than another eye, that's a red flag for you to actually look for us, so that we can look at the back of your eyes to tell whether you have glaucoma or not.
Government is working hard to build on that. Social insurance at the local government and then the national insurance to expand it, to make people to have access, including these new high-end drugs, the prostaglandin analogs, PGAs.
The need of teamwork was emphasized.
If there's a facility that can detect the glaucoma in every primary health center, then people can have their eyes checked and then referred to the secondary centers if they are suspect. Until we begin to work as a team with synergy, we will lose vision. It's about the patient, not about the practitioner.
The only way to actually tackle this in the long term and prevent our population from going blind from glaucoma is by having night check every 2 years or so.
So as the world observed this year's Glaucoma Week, the watchwords are adequate care of the eye and non-compromise on professional attention. And as medical experts would say, the eye is too precious to be neglected. Talatu Ezirike, NTA News.
Very well, Talatu. And on the foreign scene, UK aid agencies say at least 16 million people in Somalia, Kenya, Ethiopia and South Sudan need food, water and medical treatment. Let's now join Gabriel Odu for more on Global Tidbits.
A Disasters Emergency Committee says drought and major reasons for the famine. Last month, famine was declared in South Sudan. Meanwhile, UK aid agencies have launched a fundraising appeal to help millions of people facing hunger in East Africa. While in Somalia, pirates off the coast who hijacked an oil tanker with 8 Sri Lankan crew on board are demanding a ransom for the release of the vessel, the European Union Anti-Piracy Naval Force had said. Away from Africa, voters are going to the polls in the Netherlands in the first of 3 key Eurozone elections. Voters are voting majorly on immigration concerns, reports say. That's Global Tidbit. Gabriel Udu, NTA News.
Sports now with Amanzi Marcus.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports Development is fine-tuning guidelines for national